University of Maryland color analyst for the Terps basketball team, is Chris Knoche. He joins us now. Good morning, Chris.
What's up, boys?
Hey, what's up,
Hey, that
Chris?
was a great way to end the regular season.
Needed
winner.
Needed it, too.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you talk about the stars lining up for you. Michigan State had a wide open bunny on the previous possession, got fumbled the ball out of bounds.
Yep.
So, it's a remarkable ending. And, everybody sort of thinking that maybe that's the one that Melo goes out on. I guess that remains to be seen, but if in fact it happens that way, then it's a pretty hellacious ending, no question.
Describe what the scene was like there at Xfinity. I mean, the students were chanting one more year. Melo was crying at the end of the game. It does seem like all signs are pointing to him leaving after the season.
Chris, do you think he's conflicted, or has he already made up his mind?
To me, it's a no-brainer. He should come back.
Jason, I got to tell you, I mean, what do you think it's like being Melo Trimble on that campus? I mean, that would make you conflicted. My daughter works for Mark Turgeon, and she says the guy can't walk 5 feet on campus without somebody wanting a picture with him or just to talk with him or whatever. So
does he like that, or it wears on him?
If you're a 21-year-old kid, I think you love it.
Right.
That's a good question, EB, but I think you love it. You lap that up.
Maryland obviously has struggled, Chris. Big win for them on senior day. The Tchaikovsky injury hurts badly. The freshmen look like they're playing like freshmen here. Now, if you would have told me they were going to be a top 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament to start the year, I would have said, oh, well, that's a great year. And it certainly has been. But specifically Justin Jackson, now he played pretty well in the Michigan State game, but 4 or 5 games leading up to that, man, he just looked lost. Where do you put the state of the team right now?
Yeah, I think they're on an uptick. I really do. Winning on the road at Rutgers was huge for them, and especially winning the way they did. And I know Rutgers isn't great, but basically they blew them out of their building in a building where Rutgers really has played everybody tough this year. So that led to the Michigan State win, and hey, man, that's a great win because Michigan, I talked to Izzo at length before the game. They really needed that game. If they had won the game, they would have gotten a double bye.
Right.
So there was a lot on the line. It was a great win. Justin's like, a lot of other freshmen, man. He the book is out on him, and it's up to Justin to make adjustments in his game. He was just absolutely nailing 3-pointers during the course of the early part of the conference season. Then everybody said, well, screw that. We're going to get up in his lap. He's going to have to put the ball on the floor. And he didn't quite adjust to that. And nor has he, I think, completely adjusted to it. But he will. And, to your point, man, they were down 6 points to AU with 5 minutes to play in their first game.
Yep.
And they end up 24-7 and 12-6.
Yeah. So
that's a pretty good, remarkable turnaround.
It's a really good year for them, and I think Turge did a great job with the mix of the older guys and the younger guys. And we're talking to Chris Knoche, who does radio for Maryland Terrapin basketball games, Big Ten tournament in town. You got to love that. You're not traveling to Chicago or Indy, or you're here locally to call these games. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they're going to play. Ohio State, Rutgers, and then Nebraska, Penn State are the play-in games, and they're going to play the winner of the Northwestern. The winner of that Ohio State Rutgers game. So is that the case, or do they reseed? They don't reseed.
Yeah, that is the case, and the bracket broke pretty nicely for them because each of their 3 potential opponents they've beaten haven't lost a game to any one of those 3 teams this year. So they got a little bit of a break. They're on the right side of the bracket, I think, and it's cool to play at home. It's the team has played very well on the road. So actually, Verizon offers a chance to technically be on the road, but to have a boatload of Maryland fans in front of them. So I think it's a nice opportunity.
Yeah.
If you had to compare last year's team, which had a couple of pros, not that they're doing anything in the NBA, but Jake Layman and Diamond Stone, and was an older team. Well, not necessarily that much older, but if you had to compare that team to this year's team and their NCAA tournament chances, which team would you take as the favorite?
You mean in NCAA tournament chances? As in
just like going the furthest. I would have said last year.
Yeah, well, last year's team was loaded. And, last year's team had size that this year's team can't, begin to match. So So I mean, just in terms of a piece by piece sort of a thing, last year's team had a lot of potential, but it never really found any chemistry though, or any rhythm. And this team, even though it's got a bunch of first year guys, this year's team, the chemistry is so much better. The ball movement is so much better. It's not sticking in anybody's hands, and I'm not pointing fingers at all. But there's there's stretches of offensive basketball that this year that we haven't seen from Maryland teams. And it starts with Melo being, a willing passer and everybody else following suit. I really have enjoyed this year as much as I have, any Maryland team. I think it's just been a blast to watch.
Yeah. Purdue is really good. Swanigan's a really, really good player. I think he's going to be a really good pro.